Hey, what's happening, everyone? It is I, the man, the myth, the mustache, Tim here with a brand new video for you. Welcome to Season 1, Part 2 of What If Deku Was Recovery Girl's Grandson. I wanted to stop by and say hello, and please sit back and relax because you're in for a treat. With that out of the way, let's get the story going, shall we? The Recommended Student Exam. In fact, not the same as the normal entrance exam. While UA's typical test was extremely combat focused, this was different. Izuku sat among several dozen other middle schoolers, all of whom were in one of three categories: students who possess particularly useful quirks, both combat and non combat, students there because of nepotism, and students there because of power and nepotism. One comforting thing for Izuku was that he was very obviously not the only nervous one there, though there were several very overconfident students, and one particularly loud windbag who was just called through to do his physical portion of the exam. His own physical exam would be next, and they hadn't actually told them what it was yet. The other two exams were hard enough. There was an intelligence exam, of course, but there was also an interview with President Mike. Outside of the fanboying, which the hero had struggled to contain his joy and humor at, the interview was quite hard for our little green. You see, Izuku is, and I know this is shocking, socially awkward. And unfortunately for him, that very much came out in the interview. So he wasn't feeling particularly great at the moment, and was very frustrated at his stammer. Izuku's resolve to become a hero had not been dampened by this one setback, and he had added that to his list of things to conquer. In a figurative and psychological sense, he wasn't bringing down any governments today. Izuku wouldn't be left alone with his thoughts for long, though, as he was called out alongside the better part of a dozen students for their own attempts at the physical portion of their exam. The 6 students were gathered at a start line as President Mike began introducing their final test. All right, prospective listeners! Today you're gonna be running our wonderful obstacle course! The rules are simple. Make it to the finish as fast as you can by using your quirks. But you can't make it impossible for anyone else to finish or attack some students. The race will start when the buzzer goes off, so take a second to prepare. But remember, there's no countdown in a battle, and we don't do them here either. Izuku looked around at his other competitors. A couple of mutant quirks and a few other students who must have transformation and emitter quirks. One of the students with a mutant quirk looked nervous. He looked like he was partly made out of stone, and probably didn't think he would do well in a race. The emitter quirk users were stretching and limbering up in the time they had, which Izuku started doing as well as he continued to observe them. One of the students gave a jolt, and Izuku watched as his pupils narrowed and his breathing increased, his pulse even showing through his skin. Must be his quirk. It didn't look particularly comfortable, but it could be useful. Izuku thought for a second on the rules. How was he supposed to get ahead with a good score? Sure, he'd been doing some endurance training, but the others looked like they had trained with far more determination than he had. Izuku, of course, had expected to be a support hero, but because of his quirk stamina cost, he'd trained for distance and not speed. Most of the other contestants appeared like they trained for both or had a quirk that would help them. Maybe that was the key. If he had more energy available to him, he could keep up a higher speed than normal. What was it that President Mike had said? Don't make it impossible for the other students to finish the race. He hadn't ruled out quirk use, only drastic sabotage and maiming. That was it! Izuku could use his quirk to slightly drain the energy of each individual contestant, and if he concentrated on the students at the front, then he could maybe even level the playing field for the contestants with speed or stamina issues, making the race closer. With his plan in mind, and luckily not having muttered it out to alert the other contestants, Izuku felt he was ready, until the buzzer went off a quarter second later, and suddenly he was bolting into a run with the veiny student running beside him. Izuku took stock of the current positions of the players. The stony one was at the back, as predicted, and the veiny one was in front with the other emitter quirk in line with Izuku, and the other mutant quirk user gaining on them. Izuku put his plan into action, a sparkly yellow aura appearing around his eyes and hands as he focused on the lead student. He saw him begin to slow slightly, but then regain his footing and maintain his speed. What was the guy's quirk? Izuku would have to ask once the race was over. The race continued. through uneven terrain, something resembling a skateboard park and a sand trap. Izuku all the while maintaining his third place position while staggering which of the other contestants' energy he was sapping. It was all going as planned, until he was suddenly tackled from the side by a mass of fur. It was the other normal-looking contestant, who he assumed had an emitter quirk. It would seem he actually had a transformation quirk. The student had taken on the form of a monkey hybrid, large teeth, a tail, and surprisingly large sideburns. Either way, the attack had derailed the race, with every student stopping to find out what was happening. You! What do you think you're doing? I know you've been using your quirk on us. Hey, come on, get off him, man. The stone-covered student ran up to the two. No, he's been sabotaging us. I can't be the only one who felt a drain on their stamina. The veiny student ran up to the three. What the hell are you doing? You, have you been feeling a drain on your stamina? Yeah, duh. What the hell do you mean, duh? I noticed that green kid's quirk the moment it activated. You heard the hero's phrasing, right? Not everyone is gonna have a quirk that's great for a distance run, let alone obstacle course. The rules are phrased to allow quirk use on other students in a way that won't hurt them and won't stop them from participating. Oh, please! If he can't do a damn distance run, then he shouldn't be here. We're heroes. We're here to beat the crap out of villains. Oh, is that what you think? The angry shouts of the monkey kid were cut off by a dust cloud and a very familiar booming voice. Hi, All Might! Hello, young Midoriya. It's good to see you. All Might, this guy was cheating. I know what he was doing, and it was completely within the rules. However, attacking another student in such a manner certainly is not. So I am sorry, but for that, you are disqualified. You will not be allowed to continue, and may I remind you, the first duty of the pro hero is to their community, to preserve it and ensure it can grow safely. We are here to help, not simply to, as you so eloquently put it, beat the crap out of villains. Now I believe both yourself and I have disturbed this enough. The three of you, please return to your contest. All Might took the monkey kid by the shoulder and brought him away. The boy's tail slackened to feet until it disappeared when he reverted back to human form. He was probably already frustrated that his quirk wouldn't help with the race. My stamina drain didn't help, though. Why didn't you hit me with it, if you were draining everyone else? I didn't want to target just one person, so I staggered it, but I figured you would be having enough trouble with speed then taking stamina wouldn't be very heroic. Taking the stamina of those in the lead would keep the playing field level, since they weren't hindered. Wait, how was the monkey guy hindered? Monkey feet. They aren't built for distance walking or running. He would have done worse even with the strength and flexibility benefits. Huh. Hey, before we get started again, what's your quirk? Adrenaline rush. I have multiple adrenal glands and I can control how much adrenaline is in my system at a time. It's cool and useful, but has some health drawbacks. Yeah, too much adrenaline isn't good. That's still really cool, though. The three began running again, making their way through the last kilometer and a half of the course, with Izuku refraining from using his quirk again. They crossed the finish line soon after. Izuku ended up taking 4th place in his group. Now he could only hope that he did well enough to get in. Otherwise, he'd have to try his hand at the normal entrance exam. And that would be difficult. This video was sponsored by Adobe. Adobe is redefining the digital experience through game-changing innovations that shape the next generation of storytelling. Adobe makes it easy to create, edit, and share digital documents securely, allowing you to collaborate and communicate across devices. Adobe Photoshop is your go-to application for faster graphics editing and digital art as a whole. At We the Celestials, all our thumbnails across every channel are created with Adobe Photoshop. Adobe Premiere Pro is a timeline-based and non-linear video editing software application that is versatile and easy for beginning and master editors. Finally, Adobe After Effects is the industry-standard tool for digital visual effects, motion graphics, and compositing applications used in post-production. Many of our voice actors, audio editors, and video editors use Premiere Pro and After Effects to produce these high-quality videos. Check the link in the description to start creating now, and thank you to Adobe for sponsoring this video. The group had been bussed back to the starting area once everyone had finished the race. Izuku immediately went to go get changed. But, after he had done that and gathered all of his stuff together to leave, he was intercepted by another hero. Not President Mike, who was still dealing with the rest of the examinees, nor All Might, who was likely waiting with the monkey kid for the kid's parents to show up, but Eraserhead, a hero who Izuku had encountered several times in his visits to UA with his grandmother, and whom he had even seen as a student rather than a teacher. Hey there, kid. I'm gonna have to get you to come with me. Principal wants to talk with you about that incident on the test field. Alright, Aizawa. Aizawa liked Midoriya well enough. He'd seen this kid enthusiastically proclaim his goal several times, and has watched as he tried his best to pick up everything Recovery Girl was trying to teach him. In his opinion, Izuku may actually have some of the best potential for heroics he'd seen in a while. His healing quirk would also be incredibly useful for all of them. With Recovery Girl's age, Aizawa had feared a little for the future of UA's schooling, and for the ability of heroes to access the depths of their power. Without heroes who could do more than just first aid and triage, they would be in too deep in many situations. Aizawa hoped that his assessment of the little green guy was correct, though he supposed he'd find out in the coming year, whether Izuku was in his class or not. Of course, as the two made their way towards Nezu's office, Aizawa never vocalized any of this, and just listened to the little green boy go on about UA and heroes. Enthusiasm may have been an understatement. Soon enough, the two arrived at the rodent principal's abode away from Burrow, and they entered to find the principal gazing out the window while drinking a characteristic cup of tea. Ah, you've arrived. Thank you for getting him for me, Aizawa. You're welcome, though I'm not sure why I couldn't get his statement myself. I simply have more than one thing I wish to talk about with young Midoriya. I figured I'd save you the trouble. Your hands will be more than full soon enough. All right. Bye. Aizawa was never one for ceremony, and he unceremoniously, imagine that, left the office, leaving the two alone. I do hope your test went well, outside the unfortunate reaction from your co-competitor. I think so. Hope so, I guess. What exactly happened? Well, he took issue with my use of my stamina siphon on the competitors and him. He thought I was cheating and reacted really badly. Yes, the test is designed with that loophole, though we cannot control the reactions of students subject to the effects of quirks. We take any complaints made into effect while grading, though I have removed myself from the acceptance process when it comes to you to remove any possibility or accusations of nepotism. That will be up to another of the teachers. Right. On the subject of teachers, is All Might gonna be teaching here? He showed up in the middle of the exam when I was tackled. I was kinda too shocked to say anything about it, but he's supposed to still be in Tokyo. Izuku had met All Might a couple of times before, so he was relatively familiar with the large hero. In this case, it was why he didn't short-circuit the moment he arrived. Nezu laughed and confirmed Izuku's suspicions. Yes, it's to be announced in the coming week. I'm sure Chiyo will be telling you anyway, so it's not an issue to disclose. Just don't leak it. I'm sure you will encounter All Might many more times in the near future, and I have no doubt he will be asking you to slow down on your muttering even more. Don't scare him with all your analysis too much, just enough to be funny. And now, I am going to have you fill out a form so that we can have your account of the incident, and after that, we can move on to the other topics of conversation. Izuku filled out the form, and another half hour or so was spent with the two, simply talking about whatever came to mind. At that point, Izuku needed to leave, so he bid Nezu farewell and went on his way, carrying more and more anxiety on his ability to get into UA. Of course, his answer would come 2 weeks, and one more episode later. And that's our video for the day, so thank you all for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed it. Before I go, there's a little bit of housekeeping to go over. First, if you like more great storytelling, then We the Celestials has got you covered. Our We the Celestials My Hero Academia and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. So check out more of that if you're interested. We have plenty to go off of. Next, on behalf of We the Celestials, I want to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. Give some love to the writer, the video editor, and the audio editor. They do a lot of work here, so please, send them some love. Finally, if you like what we do here with the Celestials, I want to extend an invitation to join our team. We only have one caveat, though. You have to be 16 years or older to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fills your interests, by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. With that being said, that's all for today's video, so thank you all for watching and have an amazing day. And as always, be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and stay awesome. This has been Tim. Mustache out.